So we are now streaming to YouTube.
Nice. All right.
And Tierney, would you like me to share the screen? Would you like to?
YouTube. Would I like to screen share?
Yeah, you don't have to. I just thought if you would like.
I can. Yeah, absolutely.
And Tierney, would you like me to share the screen? Would you like to?
Somehow I have this open and it's freaking me out. It's playing somewhere and I don't know how. I'm just going to close everything. Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to today's Node.js community meeting. We have the agenda posted in the repo, but to get started, let's go through and go down the list of people present. So I will start on my list, I guess. Hi, I'm Tierney Siren. I'm a developer advocate at NodeSource, and I'm co-chair of the community committee along with Rachel White. And I do a lot of Node.js community stuff. Tracy, you're next.
All right, sorry, just as I'd muted myself. Hi, I'm Tracy Hines. I think I'm showing up as the Node Foundation hexagon right now. I am the education community manager for the Node Foundation and community committee member. Hi.
Thanks, Tracy. Michael.
Hi, I'm Michael Dawson. I'm the TSC chair and community committee member as well.
Awesome. Olivia?
Hi, I'm Olivia. I am currently, I think, a non-voting member for like a month of the community committee.
Awesome. Okay. Ben Michael?
Hi, I'm Ben. It's Mitchell, actually.
Mitchell.
I mean, it's weird. It's French. Hey, I'm Ben, and I am currently a community committee observer. And I do a lot of Node stuff in Portland and have been around for a little while. And I'm excited to do more with the community committee.
Awesome. Dan Shaw.
Hey everybody, Dan Shaw, Node.js at large, observer, and I have been heading up the Node.js end user feedback initiative. And I'm hoping not to head up the mentorship initiative, which we'll talk about later.
Okay. Jen?
Hey, I'm Jem here as an observer. I think I was taking some notes, but somebody else has stepped in. Michael, maybe?
I'm helping out, but don't let that stop you. I think it's often easy if several people are typing stuff up.
Yeah, I love it. Great.
Tracy, just as a note, I think we have an observer or attendee that needs to be promoted. There you go. Awesome. Next is Manil.
Hi, I'm Manil. I'm a developer working out of Vancouver, BC. I do community stuff here in Vancouver. And I'm an observer right now in the community.
Awesome. Nikhil?
Hey, this is Nikhil. I am new to Node.js in general and I've been actively involved in open source overall for quite a bit. So I'm just here to observe for now and would like to get into the groove as soon as something that I can contribute to. I know I volunteered, sort of semi-volunteer to a few things and would like to follow up on those as well today. Thank you.
Awesome. Puya.
Hi, I'm Puya, and I am observer here. I'm software developer from Relator.com, and I'm looking to find a way to help.
Awesome. And Rafael.
Hi, Rafael Ackerman. I'm a Node core collaborator, originally from Israel. Last 2.5 years, I'm in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Awesome. And then Ahmad. I know you joined a later mod, so we can skip you for now if you like. Okay, so let's start on our agenda. Let me screen share here real quick just so I can kind of share my view of what we're doing. Chrome, share screen. Okay, cool. So we're going to start going down the agenda. The minutes is in the issue, today's meeting issue. So first on the agenda is the mentorship team under the community committee. Does anyone want to share context around this?
Maybe Dan?
Yes. Dan or Ahmad, would you be able to share context around the mentorship program?
Yeah. So the mentorship program initiative is an initiative that we talked about kicking off at Node.js Interactive 2017 back in October. This was put on the technical steering committee's plate as something that they thought they wanted to drive, and it has fallen off their plate as of the last TSC meeting. They came to the realization that that there wasn't a owner, and they didn't think they were going to be able to get that off the ground, and perhaps that we in the community committee would be better able to begin kicking this off, and then seeking out the support of the TSC. Following the meeting, I captured that note. This is an initiative that I hold very dear. I think it's very important for us as a project to sort of take us to the next level of onboarding and supporting our collaborators throughout the project. That said, I'm currently deep into the process of bootstrapping a fairly extensive initiative in the user feedback project, and that's given me a lot of great learning experience about how we operate. But I will not have the bandwidth to do this until at least mid December. Would like co-organizers and individuals who are interested in dedicating time. It's a fair amount of time at the beginning of an initiative to get it all set up and get the proper just get all the context put in for an initiative and understand how that works, especially if you're green like me to the various processes of how we set up these various initiatives.
I think this absolutely fits like what we're trying to do with community committee, as well as it's sort of along the lines of, if we think about what the TSC is responsible for, like I'm sure that this could still, as an initiative, live under ComCom and will absolutely require and also interest folks from the TSC, right? Like I can imagine this is one of those things that it sort of almost blurs the line of like what belongs in admin, because there are people who would want mentorship in various parts of the project. And as we have people who are interested and volunteering for mentorship as well as menteeing, we would see the various parts of the project being included in that. Yeah, I think the biggest concern that I have, because I do think that mentorship is really important and absolutely something that we've heard for years should be happening with Node, is just being able to provide the support so that people are like, just about having co-organizers who can lay the groundwork for this and also manage expectations on how formal or informal the process is. I would absolutely love to help out with it. I just can't be an owner.
Yeah, I would like to kind of say the same thing. Is I'd love to help out with it. I can't be an owner, but one of the things that I think that this specific like this moment in time is really important for about this is getting the foundation of it down. Is going to be if it moves on past that, it is going to be a very important part to its success in the long term. And so making sure we do that correctly is one of the most important parts of that, I think.
So one thing I would like to add, and thank you for the honesty and self-awareness, Tierney and Tracy, is we don't yet have a champion. So one of the key, so a ComCom champion, ComCom member champion. Mm-hmm. So, one thing that really helped the end user feedback initiative, maintain its momentum and get to where it has and have the success that it has, was that Michael Dawson stepped in to volunteer and be that champion. And it's a bit ironic that the mentorship needed to get the mentorship off the ground is needed. But we will absolutely need a ComCom member to support this initiative.
So Dan, do you think, and I'm wondering too, because I know Ahmad's on the call, but I'm not sure if we're able to hear them.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'd love to hear from Ahmad on this, because I know that he's raised his hand.
Okay, so hi, my name is Ahmed Samia. I've recently started joining the community and contributing to Node Core, and I saw it's hard to get started, to understand where to start from. There's lots of documentation, so I thought it's a good idea to have to join the mentorship, because I can teach people how I read the documentation and how I saw the project and its structure, and also I can learn from others and help contribute more. So I'm this is the first time I'm in the meeting, so I'm glad to be here.
So Ahmed, are you interested in sort of being what Dan's talking about as one of the champions of this effort, or are you more interested in the mentor, being one of the mentors?
I'm not fully aware what are the roles of the champion. I'm interested in helping out, regardless of being a mentor or being a champion in this mentorship program. But I'm not sure what exactly are the roles of a champion.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think Dan and Tierney will be able to chime in with this as well. I think what we're talking about, because we're seeing a lot of this, just to provide everyone context, is that we have a lot of really, we've identified a lot of needs with the community work, and we need people who can sort of, when we say champion, it's the person who can do the work to move it forward. And be a person that we can sort of here in the meetings, be able to talk to you about how the progress is going. You can ask us for help and needs, right? When you need something that's outside of the team that you've been working with. So it's not to say that you're doing everything yourself, but you're sort of getting it kick-started and asking for help and getting, people involved.
Cool. Yeah, I would be interested in helping out in championship this project, but you have to know that I'm still new to the Node Core, so I would need help in knowing exactly how to start this off.
Tracy, if I could jump in and clarify. So actually, when I refer to champion, I mean someone who is getting initiatives started. We don't have great documentation on that sort of process. So in order to get something started in ComCom or the TSC, honestly, it's really important to have someone who's already a member and already familiar with the processes of the Node.js project to work alongside of the group. So, while I think Ahmed's feedback is accurate. It's like he might be able to step up and lead this, but we still would need that individual who's coming from the ComCom and is going to support us, like Michael Dawson as an existing full ComCom member has supported the end user feedback initiative. Is that clarifying?
I would also like to just insert here. We should probably try to move on from this shortly here because we've spent a decent amount of time on it and we have a lot of agenda items. So getting that, I think one way for us to approach that, Dan, is to reach out to the ComCom members in the issue itself, and even if you want to reach out one-on-one and ask if there is a champion for that. And if there's not a champion, I very much agree that I think we should try to evaluate what our next path, our path forward is. And at this point, a lot of what we do is a function of time and getting people that have time to participate, because we're working on a lot of things, and the time is absolutely our most valuable resource and our most dry resource.
Mm-hmm. And I may be able to champion that. I'm approaching the point where I can transition from observer to member, so I may actually be able to be that individual as our time progresses.
Yeah, I would say I don't think that that's a blocker from getting to start the work for the mentorship program, but it is certainly a powerful way. So I would say, like, maybe make note of that in the issue.
So one thing I am willing to offer is if Ahmad and Dan are willing to kind of be able to work on this and champion it, I will be a open point of contact for them. If they have questions or have things they need, you can absolutely reach out to me one-on-one directly, and I will help you through any questions you have. Don't hesitate to ask. I will be there.
Awesome.
Thanks,
okay,
Tim.
Yep. Okay, so I would like to move on. Trace, I'd like to move on to our next agenda item, if I can get this bar to go away, which I can't. Boy. Here we go. Move that down. So let's see. Next item on the agenda is individual membership is the responsibility of the community committee. I just kind of wanted to give a small update on this. Tracy, did we briefly touch on this in the board meeting, or were we not able to get to it? I know we had like very short time.
Yeah, that's tough because I don't think we have any of our directors in the meeting right now. It's my understanding that the individual membership program was not discussed in the public session. So further than I think than some of the first proposal discussion. So
okay.
I think that we had the conversations on the community committee side, right? But from the board session, I don't believe that we have an update. That's in limbo and sort of TBD on.
Okay.
They did acknowledge that they were going to work. The board did acknowledge in the public session they were going to discuss this further via email. And so they'll, I think our directors will have to give a report back on that once there's an outcome.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Okay. Put this down. Okay, so mentorship and ComCom. So those items are now done. Lazy consensus with policies versus people. So this is a proposal by Tracy. Do you want to give a little bit of context on this, Tracy, and next steps?
Sure. So I think that issue had been open for quite some time. And we got some good feedback. Sorry, I'm trying to click through to this as well. Wow. now. Sorry.
No worries. I can put it in the chat here. That helps. Not to, I don't know why it keeps defaulting to private to a random person. There you go. It's in the Zoom chat.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yep. No worries.
So I actually hadn't seen the updated state of this. Okay, so right. So it looks like we had a lot of, I think, really good conversation about transparency and privacy and anonymity.
Did we lose Tracy or did we lose me?
You.
Yeah.
And actually, I can hear both of you.
Anyone else there?
Yeah, I can hear both of you.
Great, yeah. We can hear you. In terms of, I actually don't know what happens when we're talking about, so from a process perspective, voting members of ComCom had chimed in without objection to this idea. Mm-hmm. And so through our normal process, that would mean that it would be, I would need to PR this, right? Mm-hmm. As something that should occur as official part of our process. Mm-hmm. But I do think that we got really valuable and valid feedback from observers as well, sort of supporting a more nuanced approach to this. So I think just the next step is me needing to pull request it so that people can tear apart the language and we'll have as an official part of the process instead of just a discussion in an issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to PR that and then we can vote as members in the next meeting?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that because I think that this is, I love I appreciate everyone who gave feedback in this because I think that it was really important and very, I think this will also help potentially the TSC down the road. So it's great that we're having these conversations and I know that they've had them as well.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add to that? No? Okay. So to move on, defining ComCom values, I wanted to ask Michael on this. We came to, there was some discussion recently and it seemed that we came to the conclusion that this wasn't necessarily needed yet, especially with extra context around the initial intent and differing, as Sir Novotny pointed out, differing from core project values. This was initially a effort around following through on the next steps for the membership values. That was the discussion in the admin repo that or leadership membership values, I believe. I can't remember the exact word, but it was a follow-up on that. And it seems like we're not necessarily there yet, and we don't need it. I'd like to ask Michael if this is what your thoughts are moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have our general values, which I think the process is still ongoing, which is kind of the community one. Then, as I understood it, there was discussion that each group could actually have values, which were kind of a refinement of that, and maybe go into areas that are more only really relevant to those groups. Mm-hmm. But it would be nice to see the high level ones before we went off and made individual ones for the different groups, unless there's, at least in my mind, like if there's a pressing need or something, mm-hmm. maybe. Otherwise I don't see the rush of doing that before we get the general ones. It would almost be better to spend that effort to try and help get the general ones earlier than later, right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree, because the more work we put into defining the general ones, the better we make the general ones, the less work we're probably going to have to spend on our specific ones. That's what I would assume.
Yeah, and I think I might have had a misunderstanding when I created this, was that that initial document, which I believe I linked in here, that was the expectations on TSC and ComCom members. That specific document, I thought that was the values. That was the initial thing, and then this was the next step. But is there an actual additional thing that's being developed right now, Michael?
No.
Okay.
Not as far as I know, right?
I
think Tracy's kind of pushing the main one, right?
Yeah, so I was going to say, I think that it's that we've had enough time, Tierney, that this conversation has evolved for everyone. That initially it was, well, we need to define values, right? We need to define TSC values. We need to decide ComCom values. We need to decide node project values. And I think it's evolved eventually into maybe we should bite off a little less of this, which is let's try and see if we can get input into core values in general. And then if we'd like to dig in further and think that they differ enough, let's do that. And then it looked like as the evolution of even the expectations on the TSC and ComCom evolved, that it was maybe we don't need to do this work quite yet. Let's see how the core values evolves. But with that, I did realize that I had been stalled on publishing, I think, so the core values, just because I have some people in here that would be able to give me this great feedback, should I just have the core values as like a directory in the admin repo? Because we have that data from the initial set, and I believe Miles already ran a second session.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I think it might be a positive change to also submit a PR to the TSC and ComCom, linking that once it is in the admin repo.
Yeah.
Just as a a reference of here are our values, publicly known, and like you don't have to search for them.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I guess because it's like core values, maybe also try and somehow link it from the main node repo. Just because that's the main entry point for most people. Like most people don't go to TSC or whatever.
That's such a good point. Yeah. Okay.
Michael, or any of the core contributors here, do you think there would be a barrier to that?
Sorry, can you ask that question again?
So if Tracy were to PR the core values into a directory in the admin repo, would there be a barrier to including that in the README for Node? Like, a link and
I don't think so.
Okay.
We'll find out once I PR.
Yeah, we'll find out, but I really don't. I think that's the best way, having it in that one common place and then PRing a link in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So at least we have 2+1s here. And we'll push it.
Okay. I have a -1, though I'm just as an observer, and I'm only -1 as we are only in the sort of data collection process. Once the core values get ratified and we filter things down to our final list, I think absolutely this needs to go front and center throughout the project. But since this is just the data that's coming in, I think it would only be appropriate to communicate that to the ComCom and the TSC, that data is in admin and that we're going to be continuing to collect the data there.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, Dan, what I saw this as was not saying, here's our core values, because there's also going to be, right, I need help with folks trying to figure out with that raw data, how we best analyze it to sort of be able to communicate or capture and also visualize like the values.
Yep.
But we can say that this is part of an ongoing effort, right? I don't think we actually have, outside of the issue, I think it would be important to have documented that we have an ongoing conversation about what the core values of Node are.
Node.js. Okay. Yes, I agree. Yeah. So I was thinking website and sort of public face. Yes. I'm sorry.
But I totally, you're very valid feedback, and I'd appreciate you watching that as it evolves, because I do think it's important for people to not try and freeze this down, because it is an ongoing initiative, not a single instance that has forever concreted our values, which right now is like, a fairly messy spread out thing.
And Tracy, I think a way to that we can address that is having in a directory in GitHub, each directory can have its own README that then will be displayed like it is in a repository when you're looking at that README. Having a README in that directory that explains, A, this is a living document, B, we're continuously going to be holding these value sessions around the world, as we already have. This is something that we will always be continuing to evolve. That I think that is a good way to address that concern specifically. Would you agree? And by you, I mean anyone, sorry, not just Tracy or Dan.
Yeah.
And in regards to Node Core, I think it's very important to enlist engagement from the Node Core collaborators, etc., into this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess this is something I assume this is something that we should be share context on too if people aren't aware of this initiative, which is that we have been working as groups in the project to define or explore what the values of Node the project are, communities in Node.
Did I just drop out?
Yes,
we
it did
can
for a
hear you
second.
now.
We can hear you.
And that's the reason for this is that it actually can help you. It can help us form strategy for various parts of the project moving forward, because this is something that hasn't been captured prior.
Awesome. Does anyone else have anything else they'd like to add to that? This discussion as a whole? No? Okay. Sorry, I automatically muted myself. So let's try to move slightly quickly through these final issues. We have about 23 minutes left. And we started a bit late, so we can go over, but people end up having to drop. ComCom core values. So actually, I am going to close that right now, just after the meeting as a matter of process. ComCom or Node.js website, ComCom section in that. I just want to share an update on this. Adam Miller, I believe is his name. Yes, Adam Miller. He PR'd a update to the website, and it has been merged. We've solicited feedback a couple times. It has been merged now, so there is a place on the Node.js website discussing ComCom in parallel to the TSC. So everyone be sure to say thank you to Adam for that, because that was a hefty amount of work that he put into it. So
thank you,
Adam. Okay, so I just wanted to give an update on that, and then we can actually close that out after the meeting. Node.js website, request to add Refec as ComCom member. So Tracy, do you want to, I know you know the process around this part a little bit better than I do, and how we need to proceed from here.
Yeah, so just from what we have documented in our contributing guidelines, Raphael has absolutely met the criteria for becoming a member of ComCom. So at this point, we just have to go through the vote, which is just the last little piece. So what will happen from here is that all members with voting status will be sent a ballot for RIFAC to become a community committee member. And we give a minimum of 48 hours just from prior agreements with community committee members. They've requested that we keep that in there so that people have time. But if everyone votes before then we close it out and I immediately publish the results. It is an anonymous vote, so none of us, including myself, even as administrator of the vote, gets to see, but they are unique. So everyone gets, one time to vote and one time to vote only. Any questions on that?
Cool. Okay, hold on, let me check the chat real quick because I see there's some things. Okay. Awesome. So that vote do you think you can send that out today, Tracy?
Yeah, I'll do it right after the meeting.
Okay.
And I'm going to set it up a slightly different way because I was not happy with how long we ended up sitting on Olivia's code. So I'm going to try and make sure that that does not happen again. I'm sorry, Olivia.
Oh, that's fine.
Awesome. So with that, let's go to the next issue. Add refac. Okay to post how I got Node hashtag Node into the Node.js collection. So this is an issue created by Zib. I'm probably the one who has the most context around this, so I will share. This is an issue created by Zibby in the Node.js collection team that falls under the Node.js community committee. And what this is Zibby has been working on a series of posts around how contributors of the project got into Node. There's 4 published so far, one for myself, one for Rachel White, one for Matteo, one for Miles and Michael at the same time. And she requested feedback on if it would be appropriate to add these to the Node.js collection. I personally think it is, but I would very much encourage everyone to go share their approval or feedback on this, approval, denial, or feedback in general on this, so we can get this, get Zibby an answer sooner. And generally also, if you want to have this, if you're a member of the Node.js org, or if you're a contributor in any way, shape, or form, Zibby would be happy to work with you on getting one of these articles done. And reading through them myself, I've already learned a lot about the 5 of us and how diverse our entrances into Node have been. So yes, definitely feel free to take a look at that, and please give feedback if you can.
Okay.
Awesome. And does anyone have any questions on that? Sorry about that. No? Okay. So add initiative section and user feedback initiative to the README. This is a PR I opened, adding a section to the ComCom README about, including the initiatives teams and working groups, and adding in the current one initiative that we have, which is user feedback, as Dan was talking about earlier, with Michael Doxson as the champion. Dan and Michael, I'd like to ask, I requested that the user feedback repo have code of conduct contributing.md and accountability to ComCom. Have you been able to complete that?
I'll let Dan answer. I know I saw activity on those. I know I approved some. What I can't remember is whether they've landed.
Okay.
So code of conduct has landed. Contributing MD has landed. And as of this morning, I submitted for approval the PR to address the last issue. That has not landed. I saw Kapke approved and waiting for at least one more approver on that before I land it. But we should be able to land that today, hopefully. We have our first official meeting tomorrow. Yay.
Yeah, so with that, I think once that lands, I believe we should be good to merge this. Again, if anyone would like to, I'd like to request that people take a look at this PR and see if they have any feedback on it. General wording, structure, approach, happy to take any and all feedback. Anyone else? Anyone have anything they'd like to add? No? Okay. Moving on. We are into the last thing. This is kind of similar. Dan just surfaced into user feedback, the meeting coming up as a talking point to get Michael's feedback to the ComCom about how the project initiative has been going.
Right. So two things on this. First the meta issue. For the TSC, the top level initiatives have kind of a recurring check-in, and I don't know if I need to submit an issue for each ComCom meeting, or whether we can just sort of work out a way that we just sort of regularly have a check-in from the end user feedback group. But sort of raising my hand, hey, how do we get that in? And would love to invite anyone who's interested to join the first official meeting of the end user feedback group tomorrow. We are on the calendar, yay! I have been working with Mihai, who is a new collaborator, to get all the various components of the process of running a group set up properly. The meeting agenda creation and setup is something that I feel like I'm just sort of inventing along the way, or doing my best to copy along the way, I hope to be able to document back and share some context for future groups getting kicked off. One thing that I do ask is, if you see anything that is out of line with normal expectations, assume ignorance, not malice, because it's definitely coming from a place of ignorance.
Yeah, that's entirely appropriate, and that's totally okay. So, with regard to your first question, or your question at the beginning, I think this is the first initiative that we have, so I think we're still kind of building the process around that. One thing I think I'd like to propose, and I don't necessarily think we need a vote on this, but we could if we need to, is have a section at the top rather than the bottom to get feedback reports from the initiative, plural. When we have multiple. So that is something that I think we can just do as a process of these meetings, and not necessarily different. We don't need to necessarily take a different approach than that. I believe that's how the TSC does it as well. Am I accurate on that?
Yeah, I think it's close to that, and I think we should try to mirror as much as possible how they're doing it, so folks that are going back and forth will have a similar experience on that.
Okay.
One additional thing that I noticed that maybe some other folks miss, but I think it would be also useful to have our chairs who are attending board meetings provide feedback. I guess we don't have an official position there yet to officially liaise.
We do. It's in our charter that both the individual membership directors are technically our liaisons to the board, and they are the ones to surface that back to the board. So William Kapke and Ashley Williams are the two people that if you do have something you would like to have surfaced back up to the board, you can either go to them directly as a part of the user feedback initiative going through ComCom, or just go raise it in the ComCom repo, and then we can surface that, including them in that, surface that to them through, and then they can surface it to the board.
This probably brings up a valid point just for like searchability's sake. We have things like, CC agenda. Is there a label that we could make across these repos that makes it easier for our individual membership directors to know what things need to be brought to the board each month?
That's a really good point. And actually, I mean, that seems like something we should do for both the TSC and ComCom.
Yeah, just to make it easier on the directors. I know the chairs coordinate with the directors, to communicate those things, and I watch out for them as well each month. But I think anything that helps make it a little bit easier to identify would be great.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Do we want to decide on a label to create now, or do we want to see if we want to do that jointly with the TSC? Or do you just want to kind of, I mean, I think it's pretty easy to bootstrap that and then change it.
We could probably ask that as an issue in admin.
Okay.
Because it will, it's good for everyone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it'd be worth getting, I don't believe we have either on this meeting, so it'd be good to have them, choose and buy into the thing that we're asking them to do.
Yeah.
And I would hope that that's bi-directional, right? So there was some interesting discussion, and we captured that in the agenda at the public session of the board meeting, but it was relevant to to what we're doing, and so if it wasn't captured in an agenda item, that'd be a great opportunity for those individual directors to report back to the ComCom.
Yep. Okay. With that, does anyone else have anything else they'd like to add? We have a few minutes here. Is there anything else that we would like to raise or that we missed? I actually do have something that I realized I left out of the agenda. I noticed that the progress on the internationalization effort has been a little bit slow because we've had several people be out that have been contributing to that, either on vacation, personal time, things like that. So I've talked privately with multiple of them, and they're all actually coming back at right about now. So we will be seeing some progress on that soon. I know a meeting is being put together shortly, and we will be able to get a report similar to how we do how we were just talking about, hopefully next meeting.
Yeah, I'm scheduling a meeting with Rachel and Adam at the moment.
Awesome.
So we should be able to meet and get back to you on that soon.
Awesome. Cool. And one last thing I would like to bring up that I do need to coordinate with both the website working group and Tracy and a few other people who have been involved. As I've been going to conferences over the last couple of months, I've been increasingly seeing interest in the website and helping out with a rework of that, both in terms of information architecture and design and implementation. So that's probably something that we should try to get kicked off soon, because I know we've surpassed the point of the previous design. And we've kind of settled on that and the process we need to take after that. So that's just kind of a heads up of what we're going to be doing around that, and that will probably be coming soonish. So
you're going to put that in the agenda once it's a thing, or?
Yes, yeah, I'll put that in agenda once it's a thing. Like, honestly, the big part is literally kicking that off and getting everything tied into that. But I did want to just mention it.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
So I have a question. We talked not a little about mentorship, and I was wondering what kind of mentorship, like code, technical, community-wise, higher level coding. So at what level do we see the mentorship entering?
I think the answer is yes.
Exactly.
Great question for the issue. Yeah, for the issue as well. Good discussion for that. Yeah.
I think that is a very good piece of context to have, and I think that all of those will come into play. It partially depends on what the mentee is interested in and what we have resources for. But yeah, that is good context, and that's something that we'll probably have to go define through the process.
Yeah, so if it's more technical or more collaborator onboarding, we should get way stronger buy-in from resources. Get rich trot into this because it's been, fiddling with mentorship in core.
Yeah, Raphael, my experience with these types of programs is that you can only offer mentorship for the type of right? You can have mentees or people requesting to be mentees. If you don't have mentors, you can't offer that part of the program. What we can do is sort of lay out what people would like to see, and then implement or execute what we are able to, because there's the ideal and then there's what we can do right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, that all in the issue. I think I would love to see, I need to also contribute to this issue. I think that there's a lot that we care about, and I would love to hear this and see what their people who weren't able to attend this call, think about it as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, so, and I have another question, and that's regarding content for in general and specifically for the website. I've seen a couple of people submitting technical articles, and I've been recruited to a very large, growing best practices repository, which for the moment is outside of the organization. I was wondering if the organization wants to buy into that, some sort of documentation 2.0, or like documentation, the extended version, which from feedback we're getting from the ecosystem, it is highly sought after. We got like 8,000 stars in the first week. So people really want this kind of thing.
I definitely agree that it's both wanted and needed, and it has been for years. That documentation is actually originally why I got into projects, because I wanted to go help fix it. So I think that is definitely something we should look into, and like explore how we can effectively approach it and incorporate that into the work we do, including bringing that repo in if that's something that's within our scope, or bringing that work in if that's within our scope. The one thing I will share is that I personally have had made many attempts to try to help go and update that, and there's a lot of process around it that we have currently in place. And so a whole new system might be a good way to approach that. But yeah, that is definitely needed and wanted. And it's just getting buy-in from the entire repo or entire org.
Yeah. Okay. So I was wondering if there's interest, I can move this along.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing worth noting is, as this progresses, Raphael, maybe keep in mind that we have some existing guides, as I believe they're wiki issues, and I think that a repo is probably going to be more maintainable for us in the long term. So maybe just put a little note that we got to migrate out those guides from the old wikis.
Yeah, I did some work regarding exactly that.
Awesome.
But I didn't have a destination. But yeah, great.
Yeah, and honestly, I think as we talk about that larger website update, this could fit into that scope. We do have basically a section for this now, but it's hard to find and it's not super maintained, because it's hard to find and the website needs to be updated. So yeah, that's definitely something that I think could fit into that.
Yeah, we can also do things like, I would say file an issue about this anyway, just because if there hasn't already been one within the project, because, at bare minimum, you could do things like link this in the help README, right? Like sometimes people are looking for this type of work. The only thing I would say is, because this is a third party, it's not part of the Node project. I would potentially put some sort of warning, because it doesn't look like they have a code of conduct listed right now. And when we're sending people from the official project to another link, we're sort of endorsing it, right? And so I just want to make sure that people aren't attributing behavior in another project to us.
So in that sense, I think I'll work on, compliance in quotes of that before we move on. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Yeah, because there's awesome work going on there. I totally think that that's needed. Tierney, if you're talking, you're muted.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So other members, we're at time. Do we need to go into private session for anything? Tracy, Olivia, and Michael, is there anything we need to go into private session for?
I don't have anything, no.
Yeah, don't think so.
Okay. So I believe we can call it at that. Awesome. Thanks everyone for coming, and we will see you again in hopefully 2 weeks. Hopefully that's not another holiday.
Shouldn't be, no.
No.
It actually might be my anniversary, but yes.
Okay.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.